This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes.
W0TX repeater.
Chaotic fun is the best way I could describe it.
I saw a bunch of adults acting like kids.
Look at the ping pong balls. Try the ping pong ball. It's even better. Man.
I thrive on chaos because I've been a teacher for 32 years. This is what a classroom kind of looks like when you allow kids to really do hands-on learning.
We're gonna inhale just this, hold it for just a second, and then say the same thing.
Welcome to Science in the Rockies.
Science in the Rockies is a workshop for teachers, STEM educators, anyone in the STEM field, trying to learn more in depth how to get the students more engaged.
We got a STEAM grant, and our instructional technologist said, hey, there's this great conference by the Steve Spangler. She said, do you want to go? I said, of course, who wouldn't want to go? STEAM means science, technology, engineering, art and design, and math. And Steve is the face of what STEAM is all about.
It'll slow down the bubble, so drop it in.
He makes it fun, he makes it practical.
You might take your phone and turn on the little light on the phone. Okay, there it goes. And now put your light underneath, and there's your lava lamp right there.
We want them to be able to go back and create experiences for their students that make them fall in love with the idea of wonder and discovery and exploration. You'll create these unforgettable learning experiences, and that was the secret from the very beginning.
Oh no. Kids need joy in the classrooms, especially in the STEM field, because science can seem to be boring at times. Joy sparks that innovation, sparks that creativity, sparks the interest in science, and we want to keep them interested so that this field keeps moving forward.
Come in with something exciting, something that makes the kids wake up and love being here. Connect with them on an emotional level, because that's how kids are, and apparently how adults are.
I'm gonna let it come right to you. Ready? Here we go.
We have to empower teachers to be able to feel like they can inspire their kids with play.
Ready? So, get the straw. Take a straw. Grab the potato.
Oh.
There should be little potatoes in there. You're gonna have to just practice.
We're planting these seeds, and if they sprout, if it comes to fruition, change the world. But it starts with these teachers.
They can actually use these things they can build to make the world a better place. And I think that's fundamentally human. The desire to make the world a better place. And when you show them how STEAM is an avenue to do that, I think that's when you'll start to see the uptick in kids that are passionate about these fields and want to participate.
That's it! Cross! Done! Done! No more!
This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net will start in 1 minute. Hello, and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net for August 7th, 2024. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully we have plenty of combined experience and expertise. This is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron. That's Delta Oscar Romeo Oscar November, and I'm this evening's net control. Last week we spoke about an EdFed half-wave antenna update. We were discussing usage of upper sideband versus lower sideband on the different HF bands. Repeater coverages of our repeaters, favorite YouTubers, and more. So we can discuss any of that. We'll also be taking your comments, questions, check-ins, updates, and more. We meet every Wednesday except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. You can contact us via email, elmer@w0tx.org, net@w0tx.org, and plenty of other contact information over on our webpage. Again, w0tx.org. On most social media at Denver Radio Club. That's also to include youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you'd like to see behind the scenes of the net or visual context, that is an additional way to participate in the net. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? All check-ins to the net will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. The suffix is the letter after the number in the call sign. If you can, please try to use ITU phonetics, for your call sign at least, and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you check in. You can follow along with check-ins as always, w0tx.org/check-in. With that, if your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Whiskey Zero Alpha Whiskey Sierra, Albert. No traffic.
This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, Cannon Lakewood, no traffic.
November 1, Golf Uniform Mike, Peter Stephen. WD0 CIB, WD0 CIB, Charles and Denver, no traffic.
All right, this is net control. Hold up there for just a moment.
W0TX repeater.
Net control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins: W0AWS Albert, Kilo Echo 0 Alpha Bravo Ken, N1GUM Peter, and WD0 CIV Charles. Thank you all so much for checking in. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Once more, if your call suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
November 0, Mike Tango Lima, Micah, Thornton.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Foxtrot Pop India. Ron and Lakewood, no traffic.
All right, in that time we had N0MTL Micah and KF0FPI. Ron, thank you both so much for checking in. We will open it up to the whole alphabet then. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. This is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. Great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. If you'd like to check in, we're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions, please call now.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Victor Mike, call Aurora, no traffic. No question.
Alpha Echo 0, Yankee Romeo, Ed in Arvada.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Oscar Romeo Quebec, Sam, Mobile and Lakewood, no traffic.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood, good evening.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Hold up there for just a moment. There was a double just to begin of that, so if you don't hear your call sign, I'll call back for you here in just a minute. I think there was a Tristan. I didn't get your call sign, but we had KF0QVM, Paul, AE0YR, Ed, KF0ORQ, Sam, and N0TRP, Jim. Thank you all so much for checking in. If you did try to check in, you didn't hear your call sign, try once more, please.
Kilo Delta 0.
All right, this is K1DBC. So I think we may have had one more double. If you guys want to try once more, I do apologize. We can try to get those in.
Kilo Delta 0, Uniform Mike, Kilo Romeo, Brandy in Arvada. No traffic or questions.
Okay, I think I got it that time. We had KE0 SUM Jonathan and KD0 UKR Brandy. Thank you both so much for checking in. All right, this is about an hour-long meeting. Plenty of stuff to discuss. We'll take check-ins throughout the net. I don't see anybody indicated they had any traffic, but at this point, I'll ask for check-ins once more. We're taking all call signs, all call suffixes. Please call now. All right, sorry, this is K1DBC Net Control, just trying to get the spreadsheet working here. Fixed, that is. I have plenty of stories we can bring up. Again, as mentioned, as a recap, last week we talked about an NFED half wave that Ed Reed is setting up. We talked about using USB versus upper sideband versus lower sideband, the usage on the different HF bands, repeater coverages of our repeaters, favorite YouTubers, and plenty more. So far we have, I think, 12 check-ins so far this evening. I certainly can bring up a few things, but if anybody has any comments, questions, check-ins, anything else, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right. Again, we have another 50 or so minutes. Plenty of things to talk about. Could cover any club business, but I have plenty of news articles we could kick things off with. But anybody have anything that they'd like to talk about? Any projects that you've been working on? Any antennas that you've been working on? Any changes since last week or since we last spoke? Please call now.
Bravo question.
Yeah, Ken, Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo. Ken over here in Lakewood. I don't know much about FT8, but when someone uses FT8, do they use that in the CW and the RIDI and the data sections of the bandwidth, or can they use it in, per se, the voice section of the bandwidth?
K0 GPA check-in and answer.
GPA, Bob, got you checked in with the follow-up. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Ken, FT8 and FT4 and that has its own spectrum. 20 meters is 14.075 or 3. And you have to look it up on, just do a Google search is the best way. Every band is a little bit different. 40, I think, is 7.070 also. And I don't remember what the other ones are, but it's a digital signal, so they got their own part of the spectrum. K0 GPA.
Good evening, Bob. Okay, I've got another question on that too. Now, as an extra amateur, I can use the CW portion. I can use CW on any portion of the band that I want to as an extra. Now, can you do that if you're an extra? Can you use this FT8 or these data portions outside or through the whole frequency or through the whole spectrum of the band?
W0TX repeater.
Say no, but I've seen the signals all over the place. So during some contests, they seem to use them all over. But I'm not sure exactly on the answer on that. But usually they're just confined to that one area.
Okay, that's why I asked, Bob, because I've been seeing it in the CW portion, and I've also been hearing it in the voice portion, and that's why I was kind of curious about that. But thank you for the information there, and this is Kilo Echo Alpha Bravo, back to net.
I see the same thing. I see them popping up all over the place. K0 GPA.
Comment N0 MTL.
All right, thanks for the follow-up. And then we had Micah, N0 MTL. Go ahead.
Yeah, the bands are allocated by the FCC, so you have to stay within bands, but the band allocation, what you're using in one part, is basically a gentleman's agreement, kind of facilitated by ARRL. But there is nobody's going to fine you or cause any problems if you're operating CW in the voice portion of the band or FT8 anywhere else. I mean, it's kind of a lid thing to do, but it's not illegal.
For Bravo.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. All right, I'll get back to you there, Alpha Bravo, in a second. But yeah, great follow-up there. I think it was MTL, Gentleman's Agreement. At least looking at the PDF band plan, there is a blue key for digital USB CW RIDI, but it's actually really not listed anywhere besides the 60 meters band. But then if you look at the kind of the ARL.org band dash plan, it kind of lists out a little bit more of the digital things there, but a little bit more information there. And then we had, I think it was Alpha Bravo again. Once more, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kilo Echoes Alpha Bravo. Now, my understanding, and things have changed since I've done a lot of studying. I did a lot of my studying back in the 90s, but I was always aware that if you were a tech, a general, or an advanced, you could not work CW in the voice portion of the band. Now, the only one that could was an extra class operator, and that's kind of the way I understood that. So have they changed that over the years? Back to you, Jerome.
I am not 100% sure on that. I know there is a CW-only portions of some of the bands, but I'm not sure about the license requirements on that.
Well, I think that's like a lot of guys used to run or test for that 20 word per minute code test to get the extra class license so they could. Now, it would be more in an emergency situation, but they could operate CW in the voice portions of the band. Because I know sometimes when I tune up in the voice portions of the band, I do throw a tone out there, and I identify with that tone. But as long as I identify with that tone and do a test in CW in the voice portions of the band, I'm within my rights as an extra class.
Comment?
All right, this is K1DBC Nectar. There was a comment in there. I guess just to kind of maybe answer your question a little bit, or at least from my perspective. I mean, maybe it's people will probably, for FT8, probably only be listening for you on certain frequencies. So it may be that you can transmit FT8 outside of what's suggested, but it's probably, people probably will only be listening on certain frequencies, at least the gentleman agreement frequencies. We also had a comment in there. Go right ahead.
Yeah, it's N0MTL again. I just did a Google search on can you operate CW in the voice portion of the band, and it's radio reference. It's not an FCC answer, but it's a radio reference. It says, per the FCC rules, you can operate CW on any frequency that you have privileges on. SSB can be used on any frequency that you have voice privileges on. So, yeah, there are certain sections that open up to you, especially back when they were doing the code requirements and stuff like that. If you had a tech license, no code tech, you were allowed to operate voice in certain portions. But once you got that code, you were allocated an additional section of the band that you were allowed to use, and that was for CW.
So you're saying, or what you're reading there, the FCC says that if I'm a general, I can use CW in the general portion of the band. And if I'm an extra class, I can use the whole band. So I can agree with that on excuse me, on the premise that whatever your license allows you to do, you can to use that bandwidth, then you can do the CW. Then okay, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, and it's mostly just deconfliction because the different modes use different bandwidth. So if you're using like FM, you're using a fairly large spectrum. You're using a lot of bandwidth in that area. So they try to keep that up in one section where CW, you're not, and digital, you're not as wide on the spectrum. So you're able to, it's a way to keep people from stepping on each other, and kind of, like I said, it's a gentleman's agreement, so there's nothing that stops you. If you and your buddy want to go have a rag chew on 20 meters in the voice portion, on CW, you can do that. You can also do it on FT8, but it just helps people kind of codify where the people are going to be when you're trying to talk to somebody on FT8. Where do I go? Well, you go to the digital portion of the band and you find it down there.
Oh, I totally understand. The rules of the road, there's just rules of the road. And, I'm going to do a little bit more studying on that. That's kind of interesting to me. But anyway, thank you for the info. This is Kilo Echo Zero Alpha Bravo, back to Nat.
Excellent, very cool. Thank you all so much for the follow-up there and some information there. Yeah, a lot of good information and a lot of fun FT8 and digital modes can be. So a lot of cool stuff there. Yeah, great question, and hopefully Ken, you get in there and let us know how that works next week or the week after. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll take official check-ins if you're just tuning in. We did have a couple check-ins online. Let me drop here for a moment. I want to thank and acknowledge the following check-ins. We had a Ken, KD0CGF, and K5AFO. Ben, thank you all so much for checking in. If you're just tuning in, though, this is the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. It's a great place to learn about ham radio and STEM topics. We have combined a lot of experience and expertise. So if you are just tuning in and you'd like to check in, let us know your call sign, your name, and if you have any traffic or questions. All call signs, all call suffixes, please call now.
W0TX repeater.
Whiskey Zero Alpha Juliet Kilo. This is Aaron in Inglewood, Dove Valley, with no traffic or questions. Just listening in this evening.
Alpha Echo Zero Romeo Kilo. This is Fred in Denver. No traffic.
All right, Net Control would like to welcome and acknowledge the following check-ins. W0AJK, Aaron, sounding just fine this evening, and AE0RK, Fred, thank you all so much for checking in here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Anyone else? Any further check-ins just at the moment? Please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Just very quickly before I went live, or before we started the net, I played a 4-minute video from Rocky Mountain PBS, Science in the Rockies. This is a conference that was held a few months ago to help empower teachers to teach STEM and STEAM to their students. So this was a pretty cool conference. So if you haven't checked this out, this is a quick 3-minute video. I'll just play about 15 seconds of this just over the YouTube at the moment.
2 years. This is what a classroom kind of looks like when you allow kids to really do hands-on learning.
Inhale just this.
5 Juliet Tango.
I think that was Kilo Foxtrot 0 Lima Juliet Tango. Is that correct? I think we had someone trying to check in there. I think it was maybe Jeremy. I don't know if you can hear me, Jeremy, but I think I heard KF0 LJT Lima Juliet Tango. I'll try to double check that.
Whiskey 5 Juliet Tango in southeast Denver. I'm visiting from New Mexico.
All right, I apologize about that. I think I got Joe or Joseph. Whiskey 5 Juliet Tango. Thank you so much for checking in and visiting us here in the Denver area. Thank you so much for checking into the Learning. I really do appreciate that. Looks like you're traveling from Chamayo in New Mexico, so glad to hear that you're in there and you're making our repeaters. So if there's anything ever we can do here in our state and try to help you out there, let us know. But we're all trying to be friendly here on the repeater, so if there's anything we can help you with, let us know. Appreciate you checking in, though.
All right, thanks a lot. Yeah, just visiting my kids up here. I just got a new grandson. So name here is Joe, and we'll be monitoring.
All right, well, congratulations, and thank you so much. And all right, you have a good one then. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Glad to hear people in there. If you're ever traveling throughout the states, don't hesitate to check in to local nets. It's always fun to ingratiate yourselves with the locals and build up some camaraderie and whatnot. So really cool to hear that. So this is K1 DBC Net Control. We've had 19 check-ins here so far. We have another 30 minutes. I can certainly bring up a few things, but any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now.
FPI.
Yeah, KF0 FPI. Go ahead.
Good evening, Jerome and Annette. I got a question out there. I know we got some heavy hitters in joining in on the net tonight. I want to know what they do or anybody does to their station when the skies start flashing and rumbling. I want to know if they disconnect their antennas, they ground everything, they have a cool manual switch for disconnect. That's what I'd like to know. I want to know what everybody does to their stations when we're getting a rainstorm with lightning. That's my question.
This is Whiskey Zero Alpha Whiskey Sierra, and I'm not really sure if it's right to do or not, but I'm running a NFED wire here, and then I simply have a coax switch, and I switch it to ground. I have my lightning arrestor outside, and I have an 8-foot ground rod connected to that outside. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's what I got. All right, back to net.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Great question there to begin with. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you definitely want to be very, very careful. I think something happened with my FT857D recently. I think that's what happened. I think a lightning strike maybe have gotten it, but I'm not too sure because the fuses never blew. So I don't really understand what happened in my case. But yes, absolutely. We've talked about thunderstorms, lightning storms in the past. Take as much precaution as you can because this is expensive equipment. So at most you could just disconnect everything at least. I mean, and what Albert mentioned there, that sounds like quite a good setup and nifty setup there. A lightning arrestor and an 8-foot ground rod and a coax switch grounding changing sources there. So that sounds like that could be an option there as well. But I'll throw it out to the group. Anyone on that, go right ahead.
Bravo.
Yeah, Alpha Bravo, go ahead.
I usually, if they're just minor storms, I'll just switch them onto the grounds on my switches. But if it gets really bad, I will uncouple them from the back of the transceivers. If it's going to be a long, hard storm, and I'll put them in a glass jar, like a canning jar, and just put the connectors in the jar and lay them on the ground next to the radios. Is what I do if it gets really bad. But usually I just take them all to ground.
TRP.
All right, perfect. Alpha Bravo there. And it sounds like Alpha AWS, Albert, it sounds like what you're doing is perfectly fine then. And then we also had N0 TRP. Go ahead.
W0TX repeater.
This N0 TRP, what I do is pretty much keep everything unplugged all the time except when I'm operating. So I'll have my antennas unplugged, I'll have the power unplugged, and I'll also have my radios disconnected from the grounding system that runs to the outside where the ground rod is and the lightning arresters, and then the 2-meter antenna on the roof is also grounded. So keep the radios pretty isolated from everything most all the time. That way I don't have to worry about transients or wind currents coming in on the antennas. Anyway, that's what I do. N0 TRP, back to net.
FPI.
Yeah, N0 TRP, as I've learned. Yeah, better safe than sorry. So, yeah. And then we had FPI. Go ahead.
Yeah, question to Jim. When you say you disconnect, are you physically unscrewing the 259s off of all your gear? Is that how you're doing that?
This N0 TRP, that's affirmative. And I have some cup hooks on the wall right behind the radio, so I can just hang the incoming lines for the antennas on that, and then I have some couplers on the backs of the radios. So when I go to operate, I just couple the radio to the antenna I want and go from there.
Okay, that sounds like a pretty good system. And I got a question for Alpha Bravo.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Thank you, TRP, for the follow-up there. And then we had Ben, K5AFO, mentioning online unplugging antenna and putting SO239 in a glass jar. Just as you mentioned there, it sounds like he does the same thing. And then any direct lightning strike and all bets are off, so no escape. So, yeah, absolutely. Be as careful as you can. And then I think there was another comment. I think Alpha Bravo. Go ahead. Or another question. I apologize if I doubled, but I think someone else had another follow-up on that, or for Alpha Bravo, or for someone else. If someone had another further question, go ahead.
Yeah, this is KFC FPI. I have another question for Alpha Bravo. When he said he centered his switches, or grounded his switches, does that mean he had a grounding center no feed position on his antenna switches?
Yeah, it's just a center position, and I think they, in some of them that I have, and there are some type of little gas fitting or slug that goes in there to protect them that way. Isn't that how that works?
Yeah, the ones I have are that way. I kind of forgot your setup there, Ken. But I'm liking what I'm hearing from everybody. Everybody's got great ideas, and I think TRP does really nice on just disconnecting them. But I don't know the frequency of you guys' use, but I do know that you guys got some nice antennas up. I was wondering if I know GPA, Bob has got a pretty good antenna farm. What he does, if he's still in the nest. This is KFC Rep BI back to net.
GPA, were you asking me that?
KZR GPA, go ahead, the net is yours.
Okay, yeah, I stepped in the network room. Yeah, I do basically the same thing. I just connect them from the... Well, my switches, antenna switches, are the older ones. They don't have the ground in the middle, so I disconnect them from the radio. And then I have a 450 ohm wire outside. I usually disconnect that one. Then I have a ground I plug it into outside, so that makes it extra, because that covers my ground loop around my big ground loop is fed with 450 ohm, and I just unplug it from the ballon and plug it into a ground rod in the ground out away from the porch. A K0 GPA.
All right, thanks for the follow-up on that. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute, but I do appreciate everyone's follow-up, and it sounds like there's some pretty good options out there for preventing lightning incursions, if you will, or incidents. Let me drop once more. I think it may have been a former net control operator, I think, AA0JK Fred mentioned this story once where it was either him or someone else mentioned that after disconnecting all of their equipment, basically there was an arc from their neighbor's home and their power lines. So even with disconnecting all of their radio equipment, power still somehow arced over from the neighboring home. So kind of crazy stories, unfortunately. But yeah, take as much precautions as you can. All right, it is 8:10 p.m. We have another 20 or so minutes. Plenty of stuff we could talk about, but we'll take check-ins, comments, questions, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net. Please go on there.
Check-in for KF0 QQV, Kilo Foxtrot 0, Quebec Victor, Dave in Evergreen.
All right, we had a check-in, and I think a comment or question. We had a KF0QQV, Dave, checking in, and then there was someone else checking in or wanting to bring something up. Go right ahead. This is K1 DBC Net Control. Again, we had a check-in there, QQV Dave. Thank you so much for checking in. And then there was someone else trying to either check in or had another comment or question. If someone else was trying to get in there and I didn't call your call sign, go right ahead.
There was a question, SUM. Drone, are you using a different microphone lately?
Yes, I am. Hopefully it's not for the worst, but it is kind of, it's this radio I've talked about in the past, the Retevis RT99. I don't know the model of the microphone itself, but it's a hardwire mic built into the radio. So hopefully it's not any worse or it may be better, but let me know.
W0TX repeater.
Oh, it just had a lot different sound than the ones you were using. You're a little higher. I get more high frequency, a little bit tinnier sound to it, but you're certainly readable.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I assumed there might be a change with this compared to the Yaesu FT857. Probably some better sound processing on that, even though it's 15 plus years old, older than this radio. But yes, a little bit different sound processor and sound quality to the radio I'm currently using. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please call now.
DC3TM, Alpha Charlie 3, Tango Mike, checking in.
AC3TM, Tom or Thomas, Alpha Charlie 3, Tango Mike, thank you so much for checking in. I think this might be the first time that you've checked into our net. Really do appreciate that. If you have any comments or questions, let us know. But thanks so much for making your way to our net here.
Yeah, I go by Tom. Moved here about 3.5 years ago from Pennsylvania, and am just now this week starting to get my station set back up. So thanks for the welcome. I'll try to listen in every Wednesday.
Excellent. Well, sounds good. Welcome to the area, and welcome back into Fold. We have a lot of presence here. It's probably like similar to other states and cities, but some sleepy clubs here and there, but lots of opportunities. So appreciate you chiming in there. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. And for those that are just tuning in, again, we do stream over on youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. So if you can't make the repeater, or if you'd like additional context to the net, again, youtube.com/Denver Radio Club. We live stream most of our nets and meetings. Okay. 15 or so minutes until we wrap up the net here. Certainly some stories I can bring up, but anyone else so far, please come in. All right, this is K1 at DBC Net Control. I can certainly run through a couple of stories that have come up over the last couple of weeks, and we can throw it back and wrap things up here in a little bit. But anything else just at the moment, please come on. Okay, a couple of articles here from hackaday.com, HACKADAY.com. Really awesome blog to read and lots of articles to browse. So let's see. One of the articles here, July 21st, written by Dan Maloney. It's titled Coax Stub Filters Demystified. So just a couple short paragraphs here. There's a video to follow it up with, but they go on to say, unless you hold a first-degree RF wizard rating, chances are good that coax stubs seem a bit baffling to you. They look for all the world like short circuits or open circuits, and yet they're magic and act to match and yet work their magic and act to match feedline impedances or even as band pass filters. If you've ever wondered how they work, this latest video by FESZ on YouTube concentrates on practical filters made from quarter wavelength, and half wavelength stubs. Let me drop for a moment.
Hello. And
let's see. They concentrate on practical filters made from quarter wavelength and half wavelength stubs, starting with LT Spice simulations. He walks through the different behaviors of open circuit and short circuit stubs, as well as what happens when multiple stubs are added to the same feed line. He also covers a nifty online calculator that makes it easy to come up with a coax stub lengths based on the things like the velocity factor and characteristic impedance of the coax. It's never just about simulations with them, so he presents a real-world stub filter for FM broadcast signals on 2-meter band. Final design required multiple stubs to get 30 dB of attenuation from 88 megahertz to 108 megahertz. Filter seemed fairly sensitive to the physical position and need a little LC matching circuit to move the passband frequency. So some pretty heady stuff here, but things we have definitely kind of spoken about or have talked about a little bit in the past, and you may have a nano VNA or a tiny VNA, things like that. So pretty cool stuff here. So again, coax stub filters demystified. All right, anyone on that or anything else? Otherwise, I can bring up a couple more stories here. Please hold on.
KD0 UKR.
All right, we had a double there. I think it was Brandy UKR. I'll get back to you here in a minute. And then there was another person in there. Can you go ahead and try your call once more?
KD0 CGF.
Perfect. Okay, CGF. I'll get back to you here in a second then. I think it was UKR. Brandy, go right ahead.
Thank you. Well, I don't have a comment about the article you were talking about, or the video rather, but I just wanted to say welcome to Tom and comment about how much community we have and how much traffic we have on the repeaters here in Denver. What I gather from interactions on social media and talking to other hams that come through Colorado is that we have really something sort of special here. I see a lot of complaints on social media from people in various municipalities around the nation about how dead their repeaters are and that they don't have any activity, and why did I buy this equipment if I can't find anybody to talk to. I just wanted to send out a welcome and let you know that Colorado's a great place for this. KD0 UKR.
Thank you for the welcome. Really appreciate it. And yeah, I can confirm I came from a small town in central Pennsylvania, and we got some repeater traffic, but nothing like what I'm picking up here in Colorado. So I really appreciate the welcome, and look forward to talking to a bunch of you. AC3TM, back to net control.
Excellent. Thank you so much there, Brandy UKR, for the heartfelt welcome. Absolutely. Yeah, and I may downplay it a little bit, but yes, it is. We are kind of a special community out here. It's a mixture of aeronautical, aviation, a lot of different engineering disciplines, just kind of all coming together. So it's a really nice mixing pot of a melting pot of a lot of different disciplines and a lot of different backgrounds. So it's really awesome to see, and it's really awesome to be a part of. Absolutely. All right, and thanks again for that. And yeah, to anybody who's just listening, if you don't have your license yet, or if you're just listening, please feel free to join into any of our club activities, whether you're licensed or not, a member or not. We have a lot of things going on. So either our club or other clubs, lots of opportunities out there. So really do appreciate that. With that, we also had Ken, CGF. Go ahead.
All right, well, thank you. Bit of an update for you guys. I'm on a different radio this time. I hope it sounds okay. I'm on the ICOM 746. The other radio that I was using last week, which I apologize for it dropping out. I replaced the microphone on, and it seems to be doing a little better. Then I found out I needed a microphone to activate the keypad to change into UHF to VHF. I'm like, oops. But a question that I had for the group on the super antennas. So this past weekend I went camping and I set up the super antennas and made 2 contacts out of British Columbia over there in Canada. But I tried to set up some radios. Are you supposed to attach the radios to the top of the super antenna where the screws are, or the bottom half of the antenna where the screws are? There's like 2 screws on each set. Back to net.
We actually have one of our members using this as well. Brian, I'm forgetting his call sign, but I believe the coax just attaches towards the bottom. I'm trying to, I have the brand new up now, but I'm trying to remember. But anybody on the super antenna, how that attaches to the radio, go ahead.
I'm not talking the coax, the radials that come off like 20 meters is like something like, 16 feet or something like that. And I was trying to figure out where to put the radials on. Because what I done was I measured out 2 radials, and I stuck 2 radios on it, stuck it up in the air, and attached, and just let the radios kind of go in a different direction to see if that would make a difference. I could have set it on the ground, but personally, I like the looks of it up in the air.
All right, great question there. Radials. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'm trying to see if I have a photo of the setup of that. I swear they just adjusted the antenna itself. I wasn't sure that radios were required for it because it seemed like it was a really kind of discrete setup for HF operations, but I cannot remember at the moment.
Yes, you can use it without the radials, but the last POTA event that we did for the DRC, I forget the gentleman's name, forgive me, but he was explaining to me that kind of the radials kind of make the curvature different, and it helps the signal. So the way I imagined it in my head was when you have the radios out, it just kind of changes that loop, that antenna loop, going from horizontal towards a vertical setting. If I'm wrong on that, please correct me, but that's the way it popped up. Back to net. Comment?
Yeah, go ahead with the comment.
This is W0AJK. So I've been investigating the radials myself, and as far as I don't have a super antenna, but where you can connect the radials would be like your SO239 connector at the antenna itself, because it is acting as a mirror for the antenna. Does that make sense? I hope I conveyed that properly. Back to net.
This is K1 DBC Net Control. So I think maybe you're mentioning AJ or to use like a metal O-ring or something, and you would attach it where the SO239 connector is at?
Yeah, Roger. You can even, what I've been doing is like a little alligator clip, or I have a vertical that I set up and used just one of the back black power plug connectors and ran like 4 radio wires into it so I could plug it in and unplug it just from the actual framework of the antenna itself.
This is KD0CGF. I like that idea. I'll have to give that a shot and see if that makes a difference. Because I just noticed there's a set of screws on top of it and a set of screws on the bottom of it, and then it goes down to the actual mounting bracket itself. But yeah, I'll give that a shot and see if it changes the pattern any. Thank you. This is KD0CGF back to net.
Dick with an announcement.
All right, thanks for the follow-up there. And then I think there was an announcement. Go ahead.
Good evening, Daron, and everyone on the net. This is Dick, November 6 Whiskey Hotel Victor, and I wanted to call your attention to our August newsletter. On page 5, you'll find some links to some very useful calculators and charts regarding the losses in coax, cable, and standing waves. And this is all by a fellow named Fred in California, Whiskey 6 Bravo Sierra Delta. And on August 21st, that's 2 weeks from tonight, Fred will be making a presentation on high-frequency antennas for beginners. It should be most interesting, and hopefully everybody will be able to join in on that about 7 p.m. on Wednesday the 21st. That's it, November 6th, Whiskey Hotel Victor.
All right, Dick, thanks you so much for your follow-up there, N6WHV, and for the information there from W6BSD. It looks like an article you wrote here on the HF propagation. It's not an activity for ham radio operators, and some good links there. And yeah, it sounds like, I'm not sure if it's our club or another club, but yeah, the 21st. Glad to see that, absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be our regular online club meeting.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate that. We'll try to get the website updated. So excellent. So yeah, upcoming meeting then from W6BSD on the 21st. Excellent. All right, it is 8:28 p.m. Mountain Time. We have another few minutes. I can certainly bring up a couple more things. But anyone else? Last minute comments, questions, anything else so far for this evening's Learning Net? Please go on there.
Kilo Delta Zero, Quebec Foxtrot Alpha.
Yeah, I think that was Kilo Delta Zero, Quebec Foxtrot Alpha. Kyle, got you checked in. If you have any traffic or comments or questions, let us know.
Yeah, I just wanted to check in with the net and questions after that.
W0TX repeater.
All right, sorry about that. No, your first transmission was excellent, and the last two weren't that great. But thank you so much for joining us. It looks like it's first time as well. KD0QFA joining our net. Thank you so much for joining us here. And we'd love to have you in any of our future meetings in net. So again, thanks for checking in here. All right, one last story here, and then we can start to wrap things up. All right, just some solar flare news. Solar flare warnings. This is from August 5th. As sunspot numbers hit a 23-year high. This is from Newsweek.com. A whopping sunspot that is getting larger and crackling with activity threatens to flash powerful solar flares in our planet's direction. sunspot named AR3780 appears to be getting bigger and bigger as it travels across the sun, marking another one of the many sunspots that have been spotted during a 23-year high for sunspot frequency. Currently on the southeastern side of the star, the sunspot will soon be on the side of the sun facing towards us. This will allow us to measure its size more accurately, but will also put us in the firing line for solar flares and coronal mass ejections. Second and last paragraph. Sunspots are dark areas on the sun's surface caused by intense magnetic activity. They often appear in groups and can be several times larger than the Earth. The intense magnetic fields in and around sunspots can become twisted and stressed, and when these magnetic field lines reconnect in a process called magnetic reconnection, they release vast amounts of energy, resulting in a solar flare. This may also fling out huge plumes of solar plasma in the form of a CME. So more information on the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Twitter, now X profile. That is all that I had. I'll be playing a quick Wildland Firefighter video after the net. But any last minute comments, questions, check-ins, please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. A lot of things happen behind the scenes for our clubs and other nonprofits in general. Our club is no different. More information on our club at w0tx.org. As mentioned, we'll have an upcoming meeting on the 21st. It'll be taking place online. More information on our website. And then over on the menu of the main menu and officer, staff, and volunteers. Lots of contact information, lots of positions to fill, and lots of opportunities to help with if you're interested. This is K1 DBC Net Control. I'm going to start to wrap the net up here. Again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here this evening. We had a total of 23 check-ins. It is really nice to see numbers getting back up there, but really do appreciate anyone who can participate as minimum or as maximum as you can, as frequently or as infrequently as you can. So we appreciate everyone's help and support. Again, join us the third Wednesday of the month for the for the Elmers session at 6 p.m. prior to the Denver Radio Club meeting at 7 p.m. Again, w0tx.org for more information on that. With that, our next Learning Net is next week, the 14th. So we will see you all then, 7-3, and I will be clear. Everyone have a good evening. All right, I'm going to play a quick few-minute video here, Rocky Mountain PBS, and we'll wrap things up.
K0 GPA, K0 GPA. This is Kilo Echo Zero for Bravo. Are you still...
I think a lot of people have doubts in me that this skinny kid from the suburbs can go out and fight these 40,000 acre wildfires. I want to prove them wrong.
I don't see the risk, honestly. Like, it's life. If you die, you die. And it's like, whatever. So this is the S190 and S130 program, and that was just all like how the fire behaves. The S190, which we're still working on, is how you fight the fire. That's how you suppress the fire. That's how you control the fire, and how you stay alive doing it.
My name is Jalen Armstrong. I am going to Metro State Denver next year.
Here's a phrase you have to remember if you ever deploy a shelter. Feet to the heat. Wherever the fire's coming, your feet are facing that direction. So if fire's coming this way, you step in, you're gonna turn around, drop, feet to the heat, right? Ready? Deploy, deploy, deploy.
I feel like a lot of people might go and party during college, and they might go and, just make stupid decisions, get a ton of student loans. My goal right now is to stay as debt-free as I can, work on my career, and to do wildland firefighting as a summer job.
My name is Lisa Coleman, and I am older. I raised a couple of boys, and they're older now, and I kind of decided, what do I want to do to chase my passions again? And I called here, and I said, oh, am I too old? And Kat said, no way, you're not too old. And so here I am.
Fire is going to be coming. It's approaching from the north, right? And it's going to impact this area first. This is the area that we want to hold. And then we're running a hose line all the way up the hill to the top. Let me know when you have water out the nozzles.
I think everyone's always a little nervous to start in a new environment and meet new people, but we've all gelled together. What I love about it is it's teamwork. And I grew up playing sports, and it was all team-oriented, and so I feel like I'm just circling back to being a kid again.
Rock. Track. Bumping out. Bumping out. This is one of those things that you let the students figure it out, do some troubleshooting, make some mistakes, and so as long as we're always learning, we're getting better. You let them do those things. It takes a little longer. It's easier for us to want to push, but it's better to let them troubleshoot this and figure this out.
Firefighters are definitely a unique kind of person. You don't know your limits until you meet those limits. And I think firefighters every day are always striving for that limit.
Copy. Just walking the line.
The risk factor is definitely a big thing for me. I worry about it, but big firefighter losses and everything are studied, and they're a big, big part of training. It's something that I definitely worry about. I want to be able to go home at night, but it is so rare. And honestly, if you aren't a little close to death sometimes, then maybe you didn't even really live.
It definitely makes you appreciate life more. You get called to people's worst day. And it's like that kind of forces you to mature.
I think it's really important that kids know that society shouldn't put you in a box, that you should do what you want to do, and if it's fight fire, come fight fire, and you don't necessarily have to be the lawyer or the doctor or the financial person. If you're happy, you're going to do a good job at whatever you end up doing.
Thanks again, everyone. Thanks to Rocky Mountain PBS for their amazing productions here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Have a good one.